You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning. It's November the 6th, and welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News, your cannabis and psychedelic news source here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm not too bad. You know, I got doctor's appointments this afternoon, but other than that, I'm not doing too bad. I should let everybody know you're filling in for Rev Kelly, who's not available this morning.
I am.
You are, and
I got
so
the wrong day today.
Yeah, exactly. So how are things down at your end of the country?
They're great here. We have sun. It's not the warmest day, but we have sun, and I gotta like that, right? Yes. And unfortunately, I'm seeing snow in the long-range forecast. Well, please keep it there. We don't want it.
Yeah, well, no, we'll turn the fan your way, man.
Yeah. That's the way it usually works. We get it a couple days after you guys have it, right?
Right. Yes. Plus, you get the stuff that comes up along the East Coast as well.
Yeah,
it comes up all through the States.
It's usually worse than what comes from Ontario.
Yes. Yeah. I sort of look at you guys are in a spot where you get whacked and then whacked again.
Yeah. I'm going to say 40 minutes from the coast. So I'm a little more insulated than a lot of people. Right. Good. All righty. We shall get on with the news. First story up, which comes to us from StratCan, says that Health Canada still says cannabis intended to be consumed as food is not an extract. Health Canada said it is currently in the redetermination process regarding its initial ruling on Edison Jolts from Organogram. Following the recent announcement by the New Brunswick producer that it was re-releasing the products into several provincial markets. In early January 2023, following the release of several ingestible edible extracts by a handful of cannabis producers, Health Canada sent a notice to producers highlighting their concerns with these products. Companies had until May 31st, 2023 to cease sales and distribution. Organogram challenged this ruling in March, filing for a judicial review of Health Canada's decision to require an end of sales of ingestible extracts that exceeded the federal 10 milligram THC packaging limit. The filing posted on March the 31st as Organogram Inc. versus Minister of Health falls under Section 18.1, an application for judicial review. Judicial review is a process in which the courts can ensure that the decisions of administrative bodies like Health Canada are fair, reasonable, and lawful. In August, that application for judicial review of the ruling was approved. Organogram has also hoped to see Health Canada's order quashed or set aside, but the court required Health Canada to determine that Edison Jolts lozenges are a cannabis extract and do not constitute edible cannabis under the regulations. While the cannabis edibles are limited to 10 milligrams THC per package, extracts are limited to 1,000 milligrams THC per package. Wow. Yeah, in an email to StratCan, Health Canada maintains that it considers any product intended to be consumed as food cannot be considered an extract. Edible cannabis is cannabis that is intended to be consumed in the same way as food and is excluded from the definition of cannabis extracts, writes a media representative of the Federal Health Authority. So a beverage is consumed in the same way that food is. It's swallowed down your throat, but you don't consider a beverage a food, do they? But it is a food. If you're putting it in your mouth and it's going down into your gut, it's a food, as far as I know. Well, you know, the thing, too, about this is that, you know, really, the people were making them at 10 milligrams a piece, and it was basically 100 milligrams per package. Well, here, as it says here, extracts can be 1,000 milligrams.
So they could have made each one of those lozenges 100 milligrams apiece.
I don't think they want to go that far, like to stretch it that far. But I do believe the 10 milligrams is an absolutely ludicrous limit.
Oh, yeah.
For a package.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Edible cannabis is cannabis that is intended. Sorry, you read that? Health Canada is continuing to assess edibles and extract in accordance with the promotion statement that we issued to federal license holders in March of this year. The factors for determining whether a cannabis product is correctly classified remain the same. The department has identified a number of edible cannabis products marketed as cannabis extract products and is working with license holders to resolve these issues. We continue to communicate with license holders to make sure they understand the federal rulings related to edible cannabis and cannabis extract.
In late October, Organigram announced they are releasing their Edison Jolts into a handful of provincial markets pending Health Canada's new determination. Health Canada has acknowledged that it accepts the decision of the court and then it considers its initial classification decision on Jolts to be void. As such, pending the final recommendation by Health Canada, Organigram has reinstated the commercialization of Jolts. A representative with Organigram told StratsCan via an email.
Organigram remains of the view that Edison Jolts are properly classified as a cannabis extract. The products the spokesman says are being sold in New Brunswick now, and Organigram expects Jolts to be in retail stores in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Ontario soon. Good for them.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, you know it's going to go for another round, and we're going to find out after that.
Yeah. Well, why don't they? Okay, I'm just trying to think. Could they turn it into a spray? Would a spray be considered food?
You're spraying it in your mouth. You're drinking it. You're eating it. As far as I know, that's food. You know, you can even class Coca-Cola as food. You know, but it goes into your mouth, right?
Anything that you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
I consider it food. There's got to be something there. All right, we'll move on. On to the next story. And this one here, it's I can't read who it came from. Oh, Business of Cannabis is where it came from, and it is the headline says Senate approves bill allowing doctors to issue cannabis recommendations to veterans.
Finally, a bipartisan congressional bill. The fiscal year 2024 Military Constructions, Veteran Affairs, and Related Agencies Appropriations Act has been approved by the Senate that allows military veterans to receive medical cannabis recommendation issued by government doctors. The doctors of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs will be able to recommend medical cannabis to their patients in states where it's legal, but it's still federally illegal. So I don't even know how they're doing this.
Yeah. The bill provides support for critical housing, infrastructure, and facilities for U.S. military forces and their families, as well as increasing funding for veterans' health care and benefits. The measure was advanced by bipartisan vote of 28-0.
Vice Chairman of the Appropriations Committee, Senator Susan Collins, stated the significant investments this legislation makes in America's military are critical to our national security, helping to assure our military's readiness and safety while reducing maintenance costs. The bill also supports much-needed funding to improve medical care and housing for our nation's veterans. As the Vice Chairman for the Appropriations Committee, I will continue to champion this funding as the appropriations process moves forward.
Previously, VA doctors were not authorized to issue recommendations on medical cannabis, even in states that have legalized the plant for medical or recreational use. Supporters of the bill have said that it provides a modest but meaningful reform for the veteran community.
And Senator Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley introduced the legislation in April, reintroduced it. Speaking on the passage of the bill, the U.S. Senator Patty Murray, who's a Democrat from Washington, chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, stated, despite the tough funding constraints, these bills move our country forward, not back, with important investments to keep our promise to our nation's veterans, to get Americans where they need to go safely, to increase our housing supply, address the homelessness crisis, support our farmers and ranchers, keep American families healthy and safe, and much more.
Speaking at the time of the legislation's reintroduction, Wyden stated, veterans in Oregon and nationwide are unfairly and unacceptably stuck in a legal gray zone when discussing medical cannabis with their doctor. Veterans deserve the opportunity to explore various treatments with their doctor without fear of prosecution or employment ramifications. Hear, hear.
The Medical Cannabis Safe Harbor Act would prevent veterans who use medical cannabis while also directing the VA protect veterans who use medical cannabis while also directing the VA to research how medical cannabis could help veterans manage their health and well-being. I'll fight tooth and nail to get this bill over the finish line and get help for veterans, the care they deserve and earned with their service. Merkley also stated, outdated laws should not arbitrarily preclude VA doctors from prescribing the treatment that's best for veterans. Our veterans have given too much to be met with roadblocks to the care they need.
Yeah.
But you can stop all promotions for the military. And that won't affect them at all.
Yeah, what is
Mr. Tuberville.
Yeah. Sad. Really sad.
That's what made me think of this article made me think of him, because they got one step forward here and 10 steps backwards there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Big time. Yeah, there's still 350 some odd people waiting to be approved. All right, here we go. On to the next story. Yeah, exactly. Headline here says from Eyewitness News 3 says the Burlington man arrested for growing $8.5 million worth of shrooms.
And I got to say, there's a picture of this guy, and he looks like he's about 12 or something. He's so young. Burlington, Connecticut. A man from Burlington faces drug factory charges after detectives found he had been growing a significant amount of shrooms. Weston Sewell, 21, is charged with possession with the intent to sell narcotics and operating a drug factory.
He looks like still has that first mustache on him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like a young kid.
Yeah. State police said members of the DEA Hartford Task Force and state police detectives received a tip that suggested Sewell was operating a clandestine psilocybin mushroom growing operation at a home on Lion Road. They arrived at Sewell's home on Thursday at around 9 a.m.
When they got there, detectives said they made contact with Sewell and saw ventilation equipment throughout the residence consistent with those used in clandestine laboratories. Sewell accompanied investigators to a detached garage on the property where detectives spotted a large mushroom growing operation.
Look at all those bags.
Is that all mushrooms? I don't know how they're
I'm thinking it is.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. During interactions with investigators, Sewell claimed that the type of mushrooms he was growing were not illegal. When asked about activities inside of the main entrance, Sewell did not consent to a search of the residence.
He should have probably not consented to a search of anything, I think. Detectives then submitted a search warrant to New Britain Superior Court, which was granted. Upon serving the search warrant at Sewell's residence, investigators said they found a clandestine mushroom growing factory within. It contained psilocybin mushrooms at various stages of growth, with an estimated total street value of $8.5 million.
Sewell admitted to investigators that the mushrooms were in fact psilocybin, which is labeled as a Schedule I controlled substance. State police said a Schedule I controlled substance is defined as drugs, substances, and chemicals that are not currently accepted for medical use and have a high potential for abuse. Based upon the information obtained during the investigation, Sewell was taken into custody at the scene and transported to state police headquarters in Litchfield, where he is processed and charged.
I would love it if he goes to court and they find that the scheduling of this drug is BS. That would be the best result that could happen with this. And this poor fella is probably facing 20 years in jail for this.
Oh yeah, probably for sure. Oh yeah,
which I consider medicine.
Yeah, and many do. Many do.
Yeah. Eyewitness News spoke with a neighbor who would frequently walk by the house and said it was cold outside. He noticed something odd. they were running air conditioners when it was cold day, which didn't seem right. They had air conditioners in the top windows of the front of the house. You saw more cars there during the day, which made it seem like a place of employment rather than someone sleeping there at night, said the neighbor. Sounds like a nosy neighbor.
UNH criminal justice professor and retired FBI agent Kenneth Gray says that's an unusual sign in this operation. In a marijuana grow house, the house is usually filled with lamps. In this case, mushrooms don't need a lot of lamps. Instead, they need a lot of ventilation. And you know what? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why they're running air conditioners. I don't know.
Yeah.
Eyewitness News called police to ask if they know how long the operation was going on for, but they didn't return our calls. Sewell was held on $250,000 cash surety bond and was scheduled for arraignment in New Britain Superior Court on Friday.
There you go.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good pictures.
A lot of mushrooms
here. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't think he can claim medical use. I don't know. That's a lot.
No, not personal medical use, but he's obviously producing for medical patients, right? You know, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I hope the judge says something about the scheduling of this drug.
Be nice. All right, we're just flying through these today. All right, next story comes to us from the New York Post. Headline says United Food and Commercial Workers Union offers pot course to train bud tenders for New York and New Jersey shops. That's good.
The United Food and Commercial Workers Union has launched what it calls the first in the nation apprenticeship program for aspiring bud tenders to sell cannabis at licensed cannabis stores in New York and New Jersey. The certified program to become a cannabis professional is being done in conjunction with the Queens-based Cannabis Place. I got one question. How the hell does the United Food and Commercial Workers think they can train people to be bud tenders? Do they have experience with this?
Oh, I have no idea. I think
I'm going to say probably no. These maybe some of them used it. Maybe some of them used cannabis, but these are the wrong people to be doing this.
Maybe they hire a company to come in and do it. Like here in Ontario, we have CanSal.
I hope they do.
Yeah. So we'll find out. We read along here. It says that no one has done this before, says Hugh Guarino, director of organizing of the UFCW Local 360. We have visionary employer harnessing our unmatched cannabis industry expertise to train ambitious local but often overlooked talent.
What? Harnessing our unmatched cannabis industry expertise. When did the Food and Commercial Workers Union become unmatched cannabis industry experts?
I don't know. I don't see them either. So it's the New York Post.
Wow, man. It's a scalable and repeatable model that delivers great value to for employees, owners, and consumers. The Cannabis Place founder Osbert Orduna said he formed a partnership with UFCW as part of the community beliefs program he submitted while he obtained a cannabis license to operate in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, so they hired a third party. They hired a third party to do this cannabis place. Yeah. We are training people to be bud tenders, to be cannabis professionals. Orduna, an ex-Marine and disabled vet who operates a licensed cannabis store in New Jersey, as well as a weed delivery service based in Queens, said of the 2-week apprenticeship program.
He said he offers 1,000 stipends for participants in the program, and his firm is hiring those who graduate and earn a certificate. The students are taught about the history of cannabis and to get into the weeds about the cultivation process, including how to grow and manufacture cannabis, the so-called seed to sale program, as well as learning about THC, cultivars, or strains and terpenes responsible for the aromas and flavors.
Students also are advised on how to interact with customers, including conflict resolution, and briefed on the ins and outs of the business and the state's regulations governing the industry. And it goes on to say at the bottom, the program includes 80 hours of classroom instruction, followed by 2,000 hours on the job. Gee, I hope they get paid for those 2,000 hours.
Yeah. Orduna, who is of Colombian descent, says he was eager to work with the union and pleased that most of the first 22 graduates of the bud tender program were people of color. The ex-Marine is the only cannabis operator who has licenses to operate in both New York and New Jersey and is on tap to open a cannabis dispensary in Middle Villages, Queen.
The UFCW has been at the forefront of unionizing cannabis workers nationwide and initially enlisted employees in New York's medical marijuana program. Both New Jersey and New York have suffered from slow, rocky rollouts of their licensed recreational programs.
In the Empire State, there are 26 licensed cannabis dispensaries or delivery services, 11 which are in New York City after the lawmakers legalized adult sales of cannabis in 2021. 26 throughout New York State, one of the most populous states in the U.S., and they have 26 dispensaries. Yep. Absolute stupidity.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. No, yeah. They say here, amid the snail-like pace of openings, an estimated 1,500 unlicensed shops selling cannabis have sprouted up like weeds across the city's 5 boroughs, even across from City Hall and the Queens Civic Hub, including the District Attorney's office, before they shut down.
Good. They shut down, though. That's the problem. Currently, there are 38 dispensaries open in the state of New Jersey. Of these, 13 are exclusively for medical cannabis patients. The lab movement has high hopes. The labor movement has high hopes for its role in the growing cannabis industry and is proud to put the cannabis plant under the union label. And the best employers recognize the enormous untapped pool of amazing talent out there, said Giordano of the UFCW. Programs like this help attract that talent and release its potential.
So there you go. It's a third party that they hire to come in. It's not the actual union doing the training.
I'm really glad that they did hire a third party to do it. Someone with a little bit of experience. I don't know if he's the perfect guy because I don't know him, but I'm glad they did. They didn't try to do it.
Right. Okay, on to the next story. This one comes to us from MJ Biz Daily. Headline says, Ohio adult use marijuana legalization could spawn $4 billion market, but lawmakers a wild card. Just so you know, on an upcoming show on CBG TV, they are working on getting a guest from Ohio to talk about it.
Good.
Yeah, that's the Cannabis and the Cannabis Chronicles with Hippie and Dr. High.
Cool. And you know when that show's coming up?
This week sometime. They're working on it.
Oh, great. Okay. Ohio is poised to become the cannabis industry's next big thing if voters there, as expected, approve adult use cannabis legalization measure on Tuesday. Legal cannabis in Ohio, with nearly 12 million people, is the country's 7th most populous state. Would provide a boost to existing medical cannabis businesses, which would be positioned to serve an adult use market worth as much as $4 billion within a few years, according to MJ Business Daily projections.
It would also be another milestone for the U.S. reform movement that would likely put even more pressure on Congress to legalize marijuana, or at least change the nation's MJ laws. You can say that again. But while polling shows a solid majority of Ohioans support legalization, measure issue 2, election day, is less than half the battle.
This is always the problem. We have politicians that don't want to do what the people say they want. And Ohio is one of those caught in the middle of two parties.
Yeah.
State lawmakers in the Republican-dominated General Assembly are already vowing to make changes, and they have the authority to alter or repeal any voter-approved initiative statute. Now, how the hell do they have the authority to appeal a voter-approved initiative? That should never be in the government's purview. If the voters approve it, that's the way it should be.
And governors can veto. They veto bills all the time that have been approved by people, by the people who they say that they represent.
Yeah, they're supposed to represent these people, and if the people vote to approve this measure, then the measure should be approved. Period. It's a wild card that's keeping players in Ohio's limited license market guessing, even as legalization advocates prepare to celebrate a major achievement.
Ohio would become the 24th state, plus the District of Columbia, to legalize recreational cannabis if a simple majority of state voters approve Issue 2 in Tuesday's off-cycle election. In addition to legalization, the only other question before state voters is a highly contentious abortion rights measure that county elections officials say is boosting turnout in what might otherwise be a sleepy non-presidential election year.
And I can see Ohio Congress turning down both of these after they are approved by the majority of people.
Yeah, I know that's the scary part, eh?
A win in Ohio, a crucial swing state in presidential elections that's often considered a bellwether for middle America attitudes, would be yet another major milestone for cannabis legalization in the United States. Ohio would be the third state to legalize in 2023 after Delaware and Minnesota approved adult use through their legislatures.
It would be a key legalization victory at the ballot box after Oklahoma voters rejected adult use cannabis in March, and a win would supercharge a statewide market currently restricted to the 180,000 Ohioans with valid medical marijuana recommendations, according to the state data.
The relatively few Ohio patients are nevertheless demonstrating a healthy appetite. Sales for medical cannabis could reach as much as $575 million this year, according to a 2023 MJ Biz fact book. Adult use in the populous state that's also replete with nationally known colleges and universities is a potential game changer.
MJ Biz Daily projections suggest adult use sales could total $1.5 billion to $2 billion in the first year after the market launches, and $3.5 billion to $4 billion by the fourth year. Currently, Ohio is limited licensed medical market that's attractive to publicly traded multi-state operators as well as locally based companies eager to avoid the oversaturation problems plaguing other markets such as California and Colorado. Well, it's not happening in New York or New Jersey. We know that.
Yeah. The opening of a new adult use market with limited opportunities for competition would be a welcome beacon for some in otherwise dour bear market area. To date, the state has permitted 34 cultivators with up to 37 licenses available, according to recent state data.
There are also 107 medical marijuana dispensaries with certificates of operation. The limited number of licenses, plus the six-figure license fees charged to large operators, have attracted big companies, big cannabis companies.
These include major multi-state operators such as New York headquarters Acreage Holdings, which partner with Ohio-operated Greenleaf Apothecaries and the company's The Botanist retail brand. New York-based Cureleaf Holdings, Chicago headquartered Green Thumb Industries, doing business under its Rise brand name, and Florida-based True Leaf Cannabis Corp., which opened its first Ohio location in Columbus, the state's largest city, in July.
Well, I can say that at least those last three, they were in another story of the top billion-dollar cannabis companies.
Okay,
gives you a bit of an idea how big they are.
I love the idea that they're not even considering allowing people that have been impacted by the ban on cannabis to even try to apply, unless they're multi-millionaires.
Yeah. As written, Issue 2 allows adults to possess marijuana 30 days after the ballot initiative is passed. The measure would create a new state agency to oversee recreational cannabis that would have 9 months to craft regulations.
I thought the story was over. I have no idea where you are.
Oh, okay. But it's understood that existing medical cannabis operators would be the first in line to make the first sale. Sales would be subject to a 10% excise tax on top of an existing 5.75% sales tax. And while past offenses aren't automatically expunged, there are social equity provisions in the ballot measure, and that's what you're commenting about.
Yeah, I hope there is. There is even an allowance for home cultivation, not seen in other East Coast states, 6 plants per adult, but no more than 12 plants per household. Yeah, that's not bad, I guess. However, the Ohio Constitution allows state legislators to modify or repeal initiative statutes as soon as they're passed, which is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and while political observers doubt the General Assembly would go as far as to repeal voter-approved legislation, sitting lawmakers have already pledged to make changes. However, most observers expect more modest post-election tweaks given the bipartisan support for legalization among Ohioans.
I think we might be able to squeak out a victory here because abortion's on the same ballot measure. So I think the Republicans are going to be spending more time trying to repeal that and tell everybody they're wrong about that ballot measure than this one, and it might just squeak through that way. It's believed lawmakers would be more reluctant to dramatically revise any issue 2 if the measure passes with a big majority. My guess is that members will tinker around the edges rather than repealing it. I don't see that happening, says John Carney, who's a former state lawmaker now chairs the cannabis practice at Porter Wright, a major Columbus-based law firm.
Tuesday's vote is a denouement of a legalization effort that began in earnest 2 years ago, although Ohio's progress with medical to adult use began in the middle of the decade. Ohio lawmakers legalized medical cannabis in 2016, the year after voters rejected a ballot measure that would have gifted a select few companies an adult use monopoly.
In the years since, Ohio has become known as a tightly controlled medical cannabis market. Advocates launched an attempt to qualify legalization for the November 2022 election in 2021.
But after a lawsuit accused lawmakers of trying to block the initiative, a legal settlement punted the question to this year. Supporters turned in more than 500,000 signatures from voters to qualify the measure.
And big money, no big opposition. The Yes campaign, the coalition to regulate cannabis like alcohol, is relatively well funded. It has enjoyed a relatively straightforward push without any serious opposition. The campaign reported $1.1 million in contributions to date.
Yep, the 2 biggest donors are the Washington, D.C. based Marijuana Policy Project, which contributed $275,000, and Curaleaf, which contributed $200,000, where Republican Governor Mike DeWine and Republican State Senate President Matt Huffman have come out against the initiative. A well-funded opposition campaign never materialized.
The No campaign called on Ohio workers and families and raised $342,900 according to campaign finance records, with the leading donor, the Ohio Manufacturers Association, contributing $101,000. The Cincinnati-based campaign lawyer who shares an address with the Protect Ohio Workers and Families Committee did not respond to an email seeking comment.
Wonder why. With a tiny fraction of the $20 million or more in funding needed to blanket metro areas such as Cleveland and Cincinnati with television and radio ads, it might swing public opinion with polls showing 59 to 65% of voters in favor passage of issue 2 seems likely. And if requests to vote for by-mail ballots are any indication, turnout among Democrat registered voters who tend to be more supportive of cannabis legalization is so far outpacing Republicans, according to an analyst from Cleveland TV station WEWS. W-E-W-S.
Time for them to start trying to outlaw vote by mail ballots then.
Yeah.
We've been encountered from the beginning, says Tom Herron, a partner at Cleveland-based law firm France Ward, who serves as a coalition to regulate cannabis like alcohol spokesperson. Herron acknowledged that the campaign has little control over what the General Assembly chooses to do after Election Day.
In a recent webinar hosted by Ohio State University, Republican State Rep. Josh Williams, who represents Toledo's northern suburbs, said the initiative needs to be modified substantially, with conversations already happening in the State House. Notably, Williams did not call for an outright repeal.
Yeah. Not outright. They'll just tinker with it so much that it'll be a repeal anyway.
Right.
We don't want to put any carts before any horses, Heron said. But I expect, and I think the voters have a right to expect that their elected officials will respect the results of an election. I don't think that's too much to ask for our elected policy. I call BS.
Yeah, we'll find out Tuesday.
Voters have the right to expect their elected officials to respect the results of an election. Bullshit.
We'll find out if they accept it probably in the coming week or two.
That's part of being a Republican right now. You have to say that the election was not, it was stolen, basically. If you don't say that, you cannot be a member of the Republican Party.
Well, it's been proven on the news, yes. Let's see. Yeah. Existing business owners recognize the potential impact on their cannabis balance sheets. As a social equity licensee, Cleveland headquartered Harvest of Ohio will be first in line for adding additional dispensaries to its existing 3 locations. Chief Operator Monica Davis told MJ Biz Daily.
Harvest of Ohio, which is locked in litigation with former partner Trulieve, is busy revising business plans and raising investment to accommodate what is expected to be a rush of new customers. Obviously, the doors will need to be opened wider to be able to accommodate so many new customers if issue 2 passes, Davis said. I like that.
And since it looks likely it will, preparations are geared up, she added. Industry operators are eager to avoid messy and chaotic rollouts like the one that's still underway in New York.
Jeff McCourt, the CEO of Firelands Scientific, a vertically integrated operation with a dispensary in Huron, told MJ Biz Daily that he believes Ohio is poised to have a just right approach that will encourage growth in the legal market while limiting opportunities on the illicit market. Through relatively small, Ohio's MMJ program is already well built from an infrastructure perspective, he said, and I think all of that will have a positive final impact if the issue 2 passes.
There won't be a lot of tolerance for products that are unsafe and unregulated, including illicit cannabis from other states, as well as intoxicating hemp-derived products containing Delta-8 THC and other novel cannabinoids. Having the rollout of the program go right is really important, McCourt added. All right, there we go. Gee,
I think when they roll out any of these new programs, there's going to be hiccups. Yeah. I'm really curious if this is ever going to see the light of day, at least, in the next couple of years.
Stay tuned. That's all I can say. Stay tuned. Yeah. And a shout out to Jenkins. Justin, hello. How you doing there? There you go. All right. Off to break we go. Time for commercial break. As I said, off we go to hear from our sponsors who are here to help us get the words to you guys. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News, found here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyendinaga.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with, and then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
From our medication session and ready to bring you some more cannabis news. Right, Glenn?
Yes, we are. Got an interesting story.
First up. Yes. First up comes to us from Mugglehead Magazine. Maori Group receives first psilocybin cultivation license in New Zealand to treat substance use disorders.
The Maori indigenous group, Rangi Wahoo. I'm sorry for the mispronunciation on that. I can't do it. Mare and the medical cannabis grower Rue Bioscience have obtained the first ever psilocybin cultivation license in New Zealand and will use it to help treat methamphetamine and other substance use disorders. The company announced the achievement on Friday, which makes a significant new milestone in a pre-existing collaboration between a network of traditional Rongoa Maori healing practitioners, the University of Auckland, and a series of other institutions and stakeholders in the country.
Currently, the license is only applicable to cultivation and investigation. Rue says that the Institution of Environmental Science and Research, one of the schools involved in the collaboration, will be examining the fungi cultivated by Rue to determine its potency and ensure optimal dosing once human trials are approved. Rue's CEO, Paul Nasky, says it's exciting to see Australia and other jurisdictions embracing innovative and potentially life-changing medical research with psilocybin, and exciting for Rue Science to now be part of such a great national collaboration.
And nobody in New Zealand has ever been prescribed psilocybin, according to Rue. You can apply for permission to utilize the compound through New Zealand Ministry of Health's medical regulatory body, MedSafe, similar to Canada's Special Access Program, but no application has been successful thus far. What's the use of having the medicine if you don't even try it?
Rue says 3 applications for the use of psilocybin in clinical trials have been filed to date, all within the past year and a half. Regaua Maori has obtained funding for its studies from the Health Research Council of Newfoundland, a government agency.
New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, right. New Zealand. Sorry. The studies will focus on the psilocybe weiraro variety of psilocybin mushrooms, which is native to New Zealand, according to local media. The group may research more species in the future, but the license currently only covers usage of that particular fungi.
I was wondering why I never heard that name, but if it's native to New Zealand, we probably never had. New Zealand's University of Auckland has established a psychiatric or psychedelic therapy research fund for the investigation of compounds like psilocybin and LSD. Psilocybin currently remains illegal Class A substance under the country's Misuse of Drugs Act.
The psychedelic has been gaining interest in medical communities in recent years for its potential to help treat substance use disorders, particularly in North America. And in 2021, the United States government's National Institute of Health awarded approximately $4 million to Maryland's Johns Hopkins University to study the drug's impact on people suffering from tobacco addiction.
In April this year, Ontario's Queen's University and the Kingston Health Sciences Centre launched a psilocybin clinical trial aimed at combating alcohol use disorder. In June, the Canadian government announced that it would be providing nearly $3 million for clinical trials investigating psilocybin as a potential treatment for mental health and substance use disorders.
Yep, there you go. Good to see
it started out in New Zealand. It started out in New Zealand and it wound up being a Canadian story.
At the end of the story, yeah. All righty. On to our next story. And this one comes to us from Gantrepreneur. And the headline on this one reads, come on. Missouri transfers $13 million in medical cannabis-derived funds to Veterans Commission.
The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, which is the DHSS, on Tuesday transferred $13 million from the state's medical cannabis program to the Missouri Veterans Commission. It is the fifth transfer to date, bringing the total transferred to $39,978,820. The agency also transferred $3,836,919 in funds generated by Missouri's adult use cannabis program to the MVC, $1,278,000, the State Public Defender's Office, $1,278,000, and DHSS, $1,278,000 for a drug treatment grant program.
MVC Executive Director Paul Kirchhoff said the funds will help MVC continue to support the existing infrastructure of our 7 veteran homes. It is incredible that Missouri voters passed an adult use amendment less than 1 year ago, adding Amy Moore, Director of Division of Cannabis Regulations with DHSS, and we are now starting to see the financial impact the program's success will have on multiple organizations and the Missourians they serve.
The amendment to legalize cannabis for medical use was voted on into Missouri's Constitution in 2018. It requires that fees and taxes generated by medical cannabis be transferred to the MVC to give veterans better access to health care. In November 2022, an additional amendment was voted on that gives the fees and taxes generated by adult use cannabis program to be transferred to the Veterans Commission.
Well, there you go. Cannabis tax dollars helping veterans.
And we're talking 1 year into the program.
Yeah.
And they're talking almost $40 million. Huge. That's to the veterans, directly to veterans.
Yeah, which is obviously a lot better than just going into a slush fund.
Usually this money goes into general funds and then just disappears. It vaporizes. It's gone.
Gone.
You know, this is a great use of it. I really like this.
Yeah, we had another story there last week about them helping homeless people with tax dollars.
And if you can designate this dollars to actually go to something before you collect it, that's perfect. It works well because the money actually goes there.
And people know where it's going.
Yeah.
They know that when they're buying a product that they're going to help support something.
And I would like it even if they put that right on the packaging, you know, hey, 10% of this goes to veterans.
Yeah.
It only helps.
Even a sign in the store. You know, so there's acknowledgement that their tax dollars will be going to help people who need the help.
Yep. Yep.
Because it mentions something about we're operating 7 houses, so they're, you know, supplying homes as well.
Homes, or maybe it's for medical use. You know, like a Ronald McDonald kind of house kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
I wish they would have went more in detail what it went to, but I like that it's actually going to something instead of general revenue.
Yes, exactly. I just heard my puppy barking. All right, on to our next story. Headline comes from High Times, says that Ireland's first cannabis clinic opens 4 years after medical program launches. Wow, that's a long time to wait. 4 years.
Yeah. Despite the fact that Ireland legalized medical cannabis in June 2019, the country has yet to open a medical clinic centering on the needs of prospective patients until now. Medican is launching the first medical cannabis clinic in Ireland and is immediately accepting patients who believe they may be eligible for treatment, according to a news release. The clinic will cover all conditions treatable with medical cannabis, not limited to, but recognized by Ireland's Medicinal Cannabis Access Program.
Yeah. You keep reading. I got to go deal with the dog. All right.
Okay. Currently, there are 3 qualifying conditions included under the Medical Cannabis Access Program. Spasticity associated with multiple sclerosis, intractable nausea and vomiting associated with chemotherapy, and severe treatment-resistant epilepsy. A step forward for medical cannabis in Ireland. While Medican has only just launched, patients have been able to register their interest in obtaining medical cannabis through the clinic online since August of this year. Interested parties can make a virtual appointment with Medican, which will then conduct an evaluation through its secure health portal to establish whether or not individuals are eligible for medical cannabis prescription through products including flower, oils, and topical creams. Though the government's Medicinal Cannabis Access Program, qualifying patients can also apply for funding to cover the cost of medical cannabis.
Oh, wow. Really? Eh? That's nice. Yeah. Medicam Ireland CEO Gary Whipp said he noticed the potential for medical cannabis to improve quality of life for citizens early on when it first became legal in the UK back in 2018.
And we have been providing access to this natural medication for patients that are eligible for the last 4 years, Whipp said. As the first clinic to launch in Ireland, we know patients have been waiting for local access to this medication, and we are very much looking forward to helping patients manage their condition better and improve their quality under the guidance and help of our specialist doctors here at Medcan. The Medcan cannabis, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Medical Cannabis Access Program first launched after Minister of Health Simon Harris signed legislation on June 26, 2019 to allow for its operation on a 5-year pilot basis. After the 5 years is up, the program will undergo a review. It was designed to facilitate access to cannabis-based products for medical use in line with legalization and clinical guidance surrounding it.
Previously, medical cannabis was only available to select patients in the country, while recreational cannabis remains illegal. The purpose of this program is to facilitate compassionate access to cannabis for medical reasons where conventional treatment has failed, Harris said at time. Ultimately, it will be the decision of the medical consultant in consultation with their patient to prescribe a particular treatment, including a cannabis-based treatment for a patient under their care.
Seems like a big thing to go to get your, I guess, cannabis license there?
Yeah, more likely is.
The sentiment around recreational cannabis hasn't changed much in the 4 years since the medical program launched. Even among citizens themselves, support for adult use cannabis has remained low, although it's increased over time, according to a study released earlier this year. The survey found that a minority support of recreational cannabis legalization is still the standard, though support increased from 19.1% to 29.9% in 2019 and 2020. Support was highest among recent cannabis users and those who had used cannabis in the past. those who know cannabis users, those who perceive cannabis use as not being a great risk, and those who don't approve of cannabis use. Don't disapprove, sorry.
Yeah. While the reasons behind the increase in support weren't immediately clear, authors speculated that the recent predominantly positive public discourse in Ireland in relation to the potential medical utility of cannabis-based products may have led to Irish people having a more positive view on cannabis in general. And, you know, it could be just the fact that more and more people are speaking out. You know, there's the internet, the information is getting around to people. And when people in Ireland or whatever country they live in, and they're hearing about the benefits, you know, whether it's kids or whatever, then they want it as well.
And the safety of it too. The safety, the record for cannabis is unbelievable compared to most drugs. And I don't even class it as a drug per se. It's not like made in a lab. It's a natural, It's a natural medicine. Sure. So, and it's safer than almost any medicine that you could take in a pill form. So why not give it a try?
Yeah. You know how they always say to eat your carrots, help your eye vision. Does that mean a carrot is a drug?
Yeah. Well, see, this is the problem I have with this. It's a natural medicine, psilocybin. It's a natural medicine until you bastardize it and make it into a chemical,
Right, exactly.
And I think for a natural medicine, it's super, super, super safe.
Yeah. All right. Well, we had one more story, but we don't have enough time to get to it, so we're gonna have to drop that one, unfortunately. But anything before I sign us off?
Peace, everybody.
All right.
I thought we were going to run long today.
No. No. From the Legacy420.com news desk, that's the news for today. We hope you found it educational and informative. Thank you to Legacy420.com, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, and Limestone City Hydroponics.ca. Catch our next Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News Report on Thursday. We'll see you all then. And don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.